Our world is chock full of creepy mysteries and wonders that defy any sort of scientific explanation. From eerie hauntings to unexplained lights in the sky, we simply don't have all of the answers for the circumstances that befuddle us and stalk our dreams and nightmares. So put on your brave face, grab your fuzzy security blanket and turn off the lights. Keep watching and you'll plunge into the depths of darkness, stories of 10 real events you won't believe. Number 10. Kentucky Meat Shower. Here's an oddly engrossing horror movie premise: bombs of meat falling from a clear blue sky. We aren't talking prepackaged sirloin steaks or frozen sausage. We're talking hunks of raw meat strewn about an area the size of a country lawn. That's what happened during the so-called Kentucky Meat Shower in March 1876, in a town called Olympia Springs. As a woman worked outside, she described hunks of fresh meat descending from the heavens like bloody snowflakes, measuring about 2 inches, 5 centimeters, square. Reporters and locals flocked to investigate the scene. They found chunks of meat scattered through the area, stuck to the ground and fence posts. Months later, a man named Leopold Brandeis apparently inspected preserved pieces of flesh and declared it to be nostoc, a type of cyanobacteria that assumes a gelatinous state when exposed to rain. That theory defies reality, however, because the skies were free of clouds when the meat storm descended. Number 9. Hinterkaifeck. In early spring 1922, on a quiet German farm, a weird series of events climaxed in a terrifying and unsolved mass murder. The name for the lonely farmstead was Hinterkaifeck, now synonymous with the awful events that transpired there. The farm was inhabited by a farmer named Andreas Gruber, his wife, their adult daughter, Victoria, and 2 grandchildren, as well as a middle-aged maid. All 6 were found April 4, 1922, beaten to death with a pickaxe. In the weeks and days leading up to the assaults, there were numerous puzzling events. The previous maid scurried off, convinced that the place was haunted. Number 8. The Dyatlov Pass Incident. In February 1959, 9 young adults set out for a skiing adventure on the slopes of the Ural Mountains in Russia. About 3 weeks later, their bodies were found on a mountainside appropriately named Dead Mountain in native language amid a weirdly captivating set of clues. Investigators soon found 2 bodies near a tree line and the remains of a campfire. 3 more bodies were found farther away. Authorities determined that they likely died of hypothermia. It wasn't until that May that police found the remaining 4 bodies, entombed under more than 10 feet, 3 meters, of snow in a ravine. Autopsies showed that these victims had serious injuries, including skull fractures and broken ribs, but no external signs of harm, except for the fact that one woman was missing her tongue. Number 7. H.H. Holmes Murder Castle. These days, modern forensics and focused police work make it harder to murder people in mass numbers. But back before the 1900s, a clever killer could escape notice for years, just as H.H. Holmes did. He's considered one of America's first recorded serial killers. He constructed a 3-story brick building and lured young women inside, where they met terrible deaths from suffocation, hanging, and incineration. Sometimes Holmes sold parts of the bodies to medical schools, other times he'd use them for his tried-and-true insurance fraud scams. Still other bodies were simply dumped in his basement. Number 6. Delphine LaLaurie. In 1834, New Orleans authorities responded to a mansion fire and found a female slave chained in the kitchen. What the police didn't know was that the woman intentionally set the house on fire to draw attention to the terrors inside. The owner of the home was Delphine LaLaurie, an upper-class socialite who was known for cruelty to her slaves. In the attic, rescuers found imprisoned slaves who had been deprived of food and mutilated in wretched ways. Several accounts noted that the slaves were bound in spiked collars and had their limbs chained in ways to make it nearly impossible for them to move. Number 5. The Gibbons Twins. June and Jennifer Gibbons were twins who grew up near a Welsh army base. They developed speech late, and when they finally did speak, they spoke mostly to each other in weird, garbled language. As they aged, their odd speech patterns became so foreign that no one else could understand them. For the twins, that was just fine, because they only wanted each other's company anyway. They even mirrored each other's physical actions without conscious effort. They were black children in a white community, regularly alienated and bullied. The girls withdrew even further. Psychologists separated them in an attempt to change their behavior, but the girls simply withered without each other. Number 4. Villisca Axe Murder House. On June 9, 1912, in the small town of Villisca, Iowa, a man with an axe entered a plain two-story house and changed the town's history forever. The next morning, a neighbor went to check on Joe Moore, his wife Sarah, and their 4 children. What he found was a hellish and unforgettable scene. Each person had been bludgeoned to death and then hacked into pieces. The ceiling above the victims was gouged, a sign of the force that the attacker used during his rampage. There were strange clues all over the house. A hunk of bacon was found wrapped in cloth. Every mirror and piece of glass had been covered. Number 3. Two-Toed Tongue. In the swamps of the southern U.S., there lurks a monster that's been stalking animals and people for decades. It's Two-Toed Tongue, a 14-foot, 4.3-meter alligator that's been called a red-eye hell demon, terrifying anyone who dared set foot near the bayou. The trail of livestock carnage gradually shifted from Alabama into Florida. In the 1980s, people spotted two-toed alligator tracks, reigniting the stories of the South's most infamous reptile beast. Tom was never caught. Instead, his name lives on in the spine-tingling shadows of the swamps. Number 2. Zombie dogs. Voracious packs of zombie dogs sound like something from a hallucinogen-fueled nightmare. Thanks to researchers at the University of Pittsburgh, those creepy canines are a step closer to reality. In 2005, scientists at the school drained numerous dogs of their blood and then filled their circulatory systems with a chilled saline solution. For up to 3 hours, the dogs remained in this suspended state with no signs of heartbeat or brain activity. Then, researchers replaced the blood, gave the dogs a jolt of electricity, and they came back to life. Zombie dogs probably won't escape a laboratory anytime soon, but if they do, you may want to give them something to gnaw on other than your leg. Number 1. The hum. Wherever you go, there it is, a low, droning hum that seems to follow you at home, at work, when you're alone or with friends and family. You wear earplugs in a futile attempt to block it. You complain to others about the sound, but no one else can hear it. It feels like you might just be going crazy. Real life, as is obvious, is full of unsettling scenarios. Sometimes it's the dread of an unexplained sound. In other cases, it's the outright bloody awfulness of an unfathomable murder scene. But whether it's mystery or gore, sometimes the truth of our world is scarier than any horror movie. Perhaps Mother Nature is the ultimate horror show screenwriter, composing scenes of chaos and strangeness that not even Hollywood can conjure. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more videos, and thanks for watching.